Random thoughts first. I think I need to start like naming these videos something. See, what happens is I like start them on YouTube and I record myself, which is a hell of a lot faster than doing it on iMovie. Sorry, I like was so lazy. Didn't trim my whole hair today. Okay, so I start it on YouTube and I record myself and then I just do whatever so I can get the embedding code so I can put it onto Tumblr. And so I never rename my videos, and so all that shows up in the title is webcam, which apparently strikes the fancy of many a man on the internet searching for webcam. So, I mean, that's amusing, but I need to change my titles, I feel like, because I'm getting all of these random subscribers, and I don't think they know that I'm really uninteresting and all I really talk about are my life problems. Anyways, regardless, I'm probably not even going to change my videos. Who the hell thinks that I'm going to remember that shit? Not me. Second, apparently my voice is really soothing. I don't know, I've gotten a lot of compliments on my voice, and that's really nice. So I would like to point that out because it's such a sweet compliment. I'm always so, my voice changes all the time, but I've always been so self-conscious of my voice, so how sweet. And then thirdly, main point of this video, read this. Read it. Read it. Oh my god, read it. It's called Looking for Alaska, and it is so good, and you probably read it before, but I haven't, so I read it, and it's now one of my all-time favorites. Same that happened with Perks of Being a Wallflower, but I like this one more. Let's see. Oh, this one just reminds me of Holiday, because he loves weed like Alaska loves sex. This is a man who once constructed a bong using only the barrel of an air rifle, a ripe pear, and an 8x10 glossy photograph of Anna Kournikova. Not the brightest gem in the jewelry shop, but you've got to admire his single-minded dedication to drug abuse. Hilarious. And then, let's see. I think I did this one because I didn't have my highlighter on me, so I don't know like which passage. See, this is the problem with my life. Fucking memory. Okay, so he asked her why she was named Alaska, and she said, well, later I found out what it means. It's from an Aleut word, Alaska, which means that which the sea breaks against. And I love that. Yeah, it was just really nice. That which the sea breaks against. Sounds so, like, nice and romantic. And then this one. See, this one I have seen the quote like a bunch of times, but never really know where it's from. And I think it's so beautiful and so like raw in its emotion. So I will read it. I wanted so badly to lie down next to her on the couch, to wrap my arms around her and sleep. Not fuck, like in those movies, not even have sex. Just sleep together in the most innocent sense of the phrase. But I lacked the courage, and she had a boyfriend, and I was gawky, and she was gorgeous, and I was hopelessly boring, and she was endlessly fascinating. So I walked back to my room and collapsed on the bottom bunk, thinking that if people were rain, I was drizzle, and she was hurricane. I've always been so attracted to that quote because, firstly, I mean, I don't know. I guess I've always wanted someone to describe me in that sort of way, like someone just. I've always wanted to be that endlessly fascinating, like mysterious person, and never seemed to. I don't know. It's just that one line, thinking that if people were rain, I was drizzle, and she was hurricane. It's just beautiful, and I don't know. I wish that someone would describe me in that fashion. I think every girl probably would. But if it's just me being an angsty teenage girl, hell, that's the name of my vlog. Alright, so an underlying theme throughout this book is Alaska's question of how will we get out of this labyrinth of suffering? And it's actually a question of an author, but she asks it and she's constantly thinking about this labyrinth of suffering that we're all in. and how do we get out of that? So she, so it's like explained in because everybody who has ever lost their way in life has felt the nagging insistence of that question. Like you're lost in a maze, and all you can think about is the way out and can't find anything. So the question is, what is the cause for hope? And so she thinks that the way out of the labyrinth, she wrote it in the book, is straight and fast, which is they think their cause for suicide. And then the colonel says, after all this time, it seems to me like straight and fast is the only way out, but I choose the labyrinth. The labyrinth blows, but I choose it. There's some people that have that mentality of choosing the labyrinth because the only way out is the death, in their opinion, and they don't want to choose that option. So the main character of the story, comes to the realization that we had to forgive to survive in the labyrinth. So his main thing throughout this entire book is also to find his great perhaps, which is basically the purpose of the two authors explaining this just general like fascination with this labyrinth. So first, gracious, where is this shit? Okay. So the first is Simon Bolivar, and he says, how will I get out of this labyrinth? And then the second is a different author, and it says, I go to seek a great perhaps. Now, so this great perhaps is the hope in the situation, the hope to get out of the labyrinth, the hope that the only way out of the labyrinth is not death. So it says, I was born into Bolivar's labyrinth, so I must believe in the hope of Rabelais' great perhaps. And I think that's so beautiful because of the hope, like seeing the hope in a situation that's completely dire in many people's viewpoints, but holding on so that way it's hopeful. So he writes this thing, and I haven't decided if I'm going to read it to you because it's sort of long. But hell, I'm going to bore you anyways. So I'm going to read it to you. So there. Okay. So this is the essay he had wrote to like explain the labyrinth to his teacher, because that was the question. Before I got here, I thought for a long time that the way out of the labyrinth was to pretend that it did not exist, to build a small, self-sufficient world in a back corner of the endless maze, and to pretend that I was not lost, but home. But that only led to a lonely life, accompanied only by the last words of the already dead. So I came here looking for a great perhaps, for real friends, and a more than minor life. And then I screwed up, and then the colonel screwed up, and Takumi screwed up, and she slipped through our fingers. There's no sugarcoating it. She deserved better friends. When she fucked up all those years ago, just a little girl terrified into paralysis, she collapsed into the enigma of herself. And I could have done that, but I saw where it led for her. So I still believe in the great perhaps, and I can believe in it in spite of having lost her. Because I will forget her, yes. That which came together will fall apart imperceptibly slowly, and I will forget, but she will forgive my forgetting, just as I forgive her for forgetting me and the colonel and everyone but herself and her mom in those last moments she spent as a person. I know now that she forgives me for being dumb and scared and doing the dumb and scared thing. I know she forgives me just as her mother forgives her, and here's how I know. I thought at first that she was just dead, just darkness, just a body being eaten by bugs. I thought about her a lot like that, as something's meal. But what was her, green eyes, half a smirk, the soft curves of her legs, would soon be nothing, just the bones I never saw. I thought about the slow process of becoming bone and then fossil and then coal that will, in millions of years, be mined by the humans of the future, how they would heat their homes with her, and then she would be smoke billowing out of a smokestack, coating the atmosphere. I still think that sometimes. Think that maybe the afterlife is something we made up to ease the pain of loss, to make our time in the labyrinth bearable. Maybe she was just matter, and matter gets recycled. But ultimately, I do believe that she was only matter. The rest of her must be recycled too. I believe now that we are the greater sum of our parts. If you take Alaska's genetic code and you add her life experiences and the relationship she had with people, and then you take the size and shape of her body, you do not get her. There is something else entirely. There is a part of her greater than the sum of her knowable parts, and that part has to go somewhere, because it cannot be destroyed. Although no one will ever accuse me of being much of a science student, one thing I learned from science classes is that energy is never created and never destroyed. And if Alaska took her own life, that is the hope I wish I could have given her. Forgetting her mother, failing her mother, and her friends and herself, those are awful things, but she did not need to fold into herself and self-destruct. Those awful things are survivable because we are as indestructible as we believe ourselves to be. When adults say teenagers think that they are invincible with their sly, stupid smile on their faces, they don't know how right they are. We need never be hopeless because we can never be irreparably broken. We think that we are invincible because we are. We cannot be born, we cannot die. Like all energy, we can only change shape in sizes and manifestations. They forget that when they get old. They get scared of losing and failing. But that part of us greater than the sum of our parts cannot begin and cannot end, so it cannot fail. So I know she forgives me just as I forgive her. Thomas Edison's last words were, "It's very beautiful over there." I don't know where there is, but I believe it's somewhere, and I hope it's beautiful. So with that, I'll leave you, and I will see you tomorrow.